Hello and welcome into this week's ARCA Menard Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, remember we are in our hashtag Race to 1K. If you are not subscribed yet, please go down below, hit that subscribe button. It is free to do, and the quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker we're able to do mobile live streaming from the track, which will open up our possibilities of coverage so much for you and give us the opportunity to give you so much better content from the track. So if you're not already subscribed, go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell while you're there, forward the notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's ARCA Rewind show, it is ARCA's return to the Kentucky Speedway, the first time ARCA has been there since the 2017 season, and we weren't even planned to go to Kentucky this season. At the beginning of the season, we had no intentions of having an ARCA Kentucky race this year, and then the pandemic happened, and the Charlotte race got shifted to Kentucky. So we have returned to Kentucky, which disappoints me because I wanted to be able to cover a race at Kentucky for ARCA, and now that we're back at Kentucky, I can't. So it's a balancing act, but either way, this was the General Tire 150, 100 laps, 150 miles around the mile-and-a-half Kentucky Speedway in Sparta, Kentucky. We had 5 caution flags in this race for a total of 22 laps. 2 breaks in this race at lap 30 and lap 60 to give the teams a chance to get their pit stops done and that sort of thing. 3 cautions for incident. The first one at lap 17 as Scott Milton got into the wall in turn 2. Disappointment there as he had actually started 8th in this race and was actually running a pretty good race. Held top 10 up until that point, and a really good run for that 69 car up to that point. Unfortunate that his day had to end like that and so early. Lap 70, Thad Moffitt got loose in turn 2, backed it into the wall, and that would be the end of the day for the 46 car of Thad Moffitt. Then lap 77, that was the caution that everyone was talking about. On the restart from the Thad Moffitt incident, Hailie Deegan and Drew Dollar racing hard off of turn 2 for position. Hailie on the inside, Dollar on the outside. Deegan had almost cleared Dollar off of turn 2. Had about probably 6 inches to clear Dollar's nose off of turn 2. Squeezed him pretty tight. Didn't cut him off or anything. Squeezed him pretty tight though. Dollar apparently took exception to this. Did not yield the position to Deegan whatsoever and instead hooked the left and turned her into the outside wall. Very interesting, probably blatant move by Drew Dollar. I'm a little confused as to why it even happened in the first place. It just seemed way too early in the race. I know we were under 25 laps to go at that point, but it still seemed like way too early to be at that point where you're not cutting someone any kind of slack whatsoever. It just seemed like a really weird move. And I gotta, it's just questionable. I don't know how to call it, but it was very obvious there was intent there. There's no way around it. You could see the 15 car hook to the left and just turn right into the 4 car. So there's no doubt about what actually happened there. It's just confusing to me as to why that happened. Why Dollar felt the need to do that at that point in the race. 4 lead changes in this race among 4 drivers. Michael Self from the pole led the first 23 laps and looked to have the fastest car in the race early on. Definitely did have one of the fastest cars in the race, but once Ty Gibbs got around him on lap 24, it was very obvious that it was going to be very hard to beat that 18 car today, which it seems is the case in pretty much every ARCA race lately. When Ty Gibbs gets the lead, it's hard to beat him. So Ty Gibbs led the next 41 laps from lap 24 to 64. Sam Mayer briefly took the lead on lap 65 when Michael Self and Ty Gibbs got together racing for the lead. Almost wrecked them both. Self got loose underneath Gibbs and they both slid up in 3 and 4. Both collected the cars. Gibbs, not very happy in the moment, kind of took a swipe down towards Self, but cooler heads prevailed. Nothing actually happened there. Gibbs actually did give a shot to Self going down into turn 1, and that sent Self even further back in the field and had to rebound even further from there. but no wrecked race cars, and they were both able to continue from that point. Sam Mayer only led one lap after that point, though. It was lap 65, and then Brett Holmes took the lead for the next 17 circuits before Ty Gibbs reassumed the lead on lap 83 after climbing back through the field and never gave it up from that point. Ty Gibbs picks up yet another win, his second of the 2020 season. Now has won at Pocono and at Kentucky this season in the ARCA Menard Series, and is putting together quite the run this season in ARCA. For somebody that's not even running a full season, he's racking up the good finishes this season. Brett Holmes did come home in second, a career best finish for Brett Holmes. Third was his career best before this, of which he had done 5 times coming into this race. So a good run for Brett Holmes. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to pick up the win, but I gotta think that win is just around the corner for Brett Holmes. He's put together so many good runs in the ARCA Menard Series. It would really be a shame to see him never pick up a checkered flag. I think the win is coming. He's just so close to it week in and week out. I think eventually that win will come knocking for Brett Holmes, and hopefully sooner rather than later. Michael Self rebounded to a strong third place finish in this race. Sam Mayer landed in fourth, and Drew Dollar, even after his incident with Hailie Deegan, was able to scrounge up a top 5 finish in fifth. Rest of your top 10, Ryan Repko, Derek Griffith there in seventh. Didn't have a lot of speed early in this race, got the car worked on for those couple of breaks, and was able to rebound through the field for a solid 7th place finish. Gotta think, once the mechanical gremlins get figured out in that Chad Bryant camp, we're going to see some good runs out of Derek Griffith. Unfortunately, mechanical issues have really plagued he and that team since he's been in that car, and we haven't really seen the potential since New Smyrna. But I gotta think, if they can get those mechanical gremlins worked out, Derek Griffith is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Ryan Huff, a strong finish in 10th for Fast Track Racing in an Andy Hillenberg car. Tanner Gray in 9th. Jason Kitzmiller in the Cody Robaugh number 97 car rounded out the top 10. Final page 11 through 17th. Hailie Deegan, after her crash, landed in 14th. Thad Moffitt there in the 15th position, and then Scott Melton, after his crash, shotgun on the field in 17th. So that is your results from the General Tire 150. Working on our Ty Gibbs winner interview. When and if that happens, it will be within the next 24 to 48 hours, so make sure you are subscribed and you've got your notifications turned on so you know when that winner interview comes out with Ty Gibbs, when and if it happens, and you'll know exactly when it happens when you've got those notifications turned on. So let's take a look at your point standing. 6 races into the ARCA Menard Series season. Michael Self still leads, now with a more commanding lead than he had coming into the race. 22 points over his teammate Drew Dollar, who is actually now tied for second with Brett Holmes, who is slowly inching his way into this championship battle, has actually overtaken Hailie Deegan now, who has dropped back to fourth, 24 points out. So we've got a fairly strong 4-car race for this championship. Again, not 100% sure if Brett Holmes is even running the full season yet at this point. Again, at the beginning of the season, he announced he was not running the full season, but 6 races in, he has run every race. So at this point, I think it's safe to assume he is running the full season. So I think we can count him in this championship battle. And to be honest, if I were him, I would want to run this full season, because if you're this much entrenched in the championship battle 6 races into the season, I think you're doing yourself an injustice not to run for the championship, because you don't know what happens in these next 14 races. Brett Holmes could be your champion at the end of the season. We have no idea. So if you're this close in the championship battle, I feel like if you're Brett Holmes, you've got to run the rest of the season. So hopefully that is the case, and he will run the rest of the season. I'd like to see someone else in this championship battle to mix it up a little bit more. Thad Moffitt still sits in the top 5, but after his crash, definitely lost a lot of points. Now 53 points out of the championship lead for Thad Moffitt in 5th. But that's your point standings following the General Tire 150, and I believe that will do it for us on this ARCA Rewind show. Apologies for this going out so late. I know this is way removed from the end of the race, hours removed from the end of the race, way later than it should have been. Unfortunately, right after the race, had a line of storms roll through really weren't that bad of storms, but somehow knocked the power out, and it has been out for hours, just now getting it back. So I do apologize for that, but it was out of my control. I'm getting this to you as quickly as I possibly can, but unfortunately not as quick as I would have liked for it to have been. Next race on the ARCA schedule will be a week from today, Iowa Speedway. Next Saturday night, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. Of course, we will have a watch party for you for that race, so come on out and watch the race for us. We have a great time chatting it up during the race, talking about things that happen and anything else that might pop up in the chat to talk about. NASCAR Heat 5 stream coming up on Wednesday, 5 p.m. to continue our career mode there, and then who knows what else we might come up with for you throughout the week at that. So definitely remember, hashtag race to 1K. If you're not subscribed already, definitely go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. While you're down there, do me a favor, hit that big thumbs up button for me if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. Like I said, got a lot of stuff coming up for you that I think you will enjoy seeing. So I think you'll definitely want to be subscribed so you can see all of that. But at that, this has been the ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.